Starbucks seems to be closing down, and scientists have made artificial solar-powered plants that can do some pretty amazing things. And the over-the-phone customer service agent that you are talking to could be a prisoner. In today's video, we're going to be reacting to the latest strange and bizarre clips that I could find on TikTok. Let's get into it.
This video uploaded by Unanswered Universe is going to make you want to get pet cams. I'm not sure what happened to the original poster's account, but the story behind this video is she was on vacation and she had a pet cam set up for her cat. And one night she caught this on the camera. At first it looks like a human popping its head around the door frame. The cat just sits and stares. And at first you would think, oh my gosh, there's an intruder in my house. But then it gets weird. Now watch its hand on the door frame. It goes from the middle all the way to the top, and then it just slinks all the way up the wall and turns into what looks like a mist and disappears. The cat looks kind of confused, starts looking around, and then goes back to its cat business. When you zoom in on this thing though, this is when it gets really weird, because you can kind of tell that its eyes are glowing right here. Zoomed in on, it's just pure nightmare fuel. What do you guys think this is? Let me know. And don't forget to like and follow for more creepy content. Good night.
I didn't see the glowing eyes aspect of it, but it does look like something moving around at the corner of that door. It actually kind of looks like smoke. I don't think that this is a fake video. I'm not sure if it's necessarily paranormal, but I am very intrigued as to what that could have been. Let me know your guess in the comments.
Okay guys, breaking news. There has just been not one, not two, but 3 mass shootings in the United States. I never thought we'd be doing 3 in the same video. The first is at a Mormon church in Grand Blanc, Michigan. Now, we don't know the shooter's identity or motive yet, but they are reportedly down. There are also multiple victims, which do also include children, and the church that it happened at is now on fire and burning down. The second mass shooting happened in North Carolina after a 40-year-old man pulled up to a waterfront bar on a boat and opened fire. He killed 3 people and he injured 8 more, most of which were just people on holiday. The man is being identified as Nigel Edge. He's been charged with multiple counts of first-degree murder, and police say that the attack was highly premeditated. Now, the third, all of which happened within about 14 hours of each other, was at the largest casino in Texas. A man opened fire at a number of people, killing 2, and 5 others had to be airlifted to hospital. The gunman fled the scene, but now police say that they do have someone in custody. Now, according to the Gun Violence Archive, there has now been 320 mass shootings in the US this year alone.
That is truly awful news. For everybody that's suffering through this, whether it's family, loved ones, I'm really sorry for everything that you're going through right now. That's horrible. There's definitely some really crazy people out there.
This is the dark reason why you don't tell the people in your dream that you know you're dreaming. Watch this.
I just have to tell a story because I think it's interesting. There's this one time so many years ago I saw this. Don't tell your lucid dream people, like the people in your lucid dream, that you know that you're dreaming, or don't tell them I'm dreaming. Anyway, I saw this and then I was thinking to myself, I'm going to do that next time I lucid dream. So it had been a minute, and I had lucid dreamed a few times between this, but I forgot. But this one time I specifically remember I was with my friend and I turned to her and I said, I remembered this time. Her name is Ash, and she looked back at me and she said, remembered what? It was like a full conversation we were just having. But I interrupted and I said, I'm dreaming right now. She goes, same dead face. She goes, you're not supposed to say that. Fully, I go, I'm so sorry. I know. I saw it in a TikTok. And then she immediately switches back on and she goes, that's fine, just don't do it again. And then starts having a conversation with me like nothing happened. I woke up, obviously, because it scared me. But yeah, no, for real, if you ever try that, just like be prepared. It's a little scary.
I wonder what the purpose is though. Why is it such a dark reason? Why is it so bad to know that you're dreaming, or to announce it in your dream when you're talking to other dream entities? Let me know in the comments if you have any ideas as to why that would be such a bad thing to do in your lucid dream. I'm not saying I necessarily believe this story, but I have heard people talk about how you should not be talking to these entities or letting them know that you're lucid dreaming, but there's never really an ultimate reason as to why. So if any of you have a clue as to why that's a bad thing, Let me know in the comments, please. Hey, if you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the show, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I upload a video like this every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. And for everyone that's watching and or subscribed, thank you so much for supporting the channel.
You guys see what happened in Vegas? In the desert, they discovered 70 to 100 piles of cremated ashes.
Like they laid out 100 bodies and they...
Or they burned them and then dumped all the bodies throughout the desert.
Yeah.
That's like ritualistic. That's weird.
Do they have any idea what it was?
No, so it happened in August. Passerby discovered dozens of piles of cremated human remains scattered along the dirt road in the Nevada desert, 50 miles outside of Las Vegas. As of September, no charges have been filed and authorities have not released further details.
I mean, like, sure, there's gonna be like teeth or something where they can pull dental records.
It's actually illegal in Nevada to spread ashes.
Yeah, there's rules about that.
How do you even tell it's
I
human?
mean, they probably tested it.
You could definitely test it.
Can you?
Yeah, for sure.
No, yeah, you can definitely test that stuff.
Wait, Andrew's like, wait,
Start panicking.
I gotta go. One second. He comes back all just super ashy. I mean, I can't imagine how terrifying that would be to go out there and just.
Well, have you been to Vegas? That's horrible. Also, like, I'm just like not surprised.
Yeah.
You fly into Vegas and it's like desert, 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 desert city. You know they're doing shady stuff here.
100%.
This is not like the wholesome capital of the world.
No.
I had to look into this a little bit further because it did pique my interest. Apparently this happened in August. It's still a mystery. It's never been solved as to what this was for. And these ashes were found basically an hour away from Las Vegas in a small community town called Searchlight. Very interesting stuff. I wonder why. What's the purpose of having all these ashes just piled up in different areas? And they did take a picture to submit. I'll show you what it looks like here. And as you can see, it's just a bunch of random piles of ashes. Really odd stuff. You know that there probably has to be some really strange things that happen out there in Nevada or those desert-like regions. Unfortunately, we'll probably never know what this whole purpose was.
Are there vampires in Ohio? Because honestly, this video makes me believe that there are. And also, being a blue-collar worker, a serviceman, going to people's homes to fix things, you find odd things, right? But do you expect to find an actual coffin in the basement? Because that's literally what this man Jack found. Like, what is going on? It's not Halloween. And the way it's just propped up, I have so many questions. This is crazy. Take a look at this footage, comment below, tell me what you think.
There's not really much more to this video. The audio that's playing on the video is not the original audio either. I'm just gonna chop this up as being a fake video, or that's just a prop piece.
People are freaking out after Starbucks is officially closing down. All of this news has been coming out in the last few days, and I genuinely didn't think it was real at first, but it actually is. Though you may or may not know, there's been a lot of boycotts of Starbucks for a number of different reasons over the last few months. These things don't seem to be like a big deal, but this has actually really impacted Starbucks in a drastic way. Quietly in the background over the last few months, they've actually been shutting quite a lot of their shops around the US and the UK a little bit. But now literally in the last day, there's been all these videos from people saying their store has been closed and now they're jobless. People going through the last day of their shift. Like, I mean, this is actually happening. These letters are popping up on a number of stores in the UK and the US saying, you know, we are basically closing down, so take a drive down to your local one and see if you can find one. They've said they are having to lay off over 900 employees in the US, but it's a lot more than that because there's a lot more shops closing because they are losing so much revenue and they need to basically recoup this. But a lot of people online have been saying that this isn't looking great for them. They've been losing money for a long, long time now, and that this could actually end up in them permanently closing down Starbucks globally. But let me know your thoughts and I'll keep you updated.
I have had Starbucks before a few times, and me personally, I do not understand what people see in it. I've had their black coffee, I've had their flavored coffee, and I've had their cold coffee. Now, I do prefer their cold coffee, if you like a sweet treat, I guess. But as far as it being good coffee, and on top of that, they're so expensive. One medium-sized cup of flavored coffee can be like $13. That to me is just ridiculous. For the price of one cup of supposed coffee, I can go out and buy my own coffee and have 20 to 30 cups of actually decent flavored coffee. Let me know in the comments, are you someone that frequents Starbucks?
Have any of you heard about the drone situation in the country of Denmark? Yeah, unknown drones are scattered or near their military bases for the past week or so. Remember when something similar to this happened in New Jersey months ago? Yeah, and now it's happening in Denmark. And as you can see by this map, it's mostly around their military bases. And they don't know where these drones are from. It's getting so bad there in Denmark with the drones that they have banned civilian drones during the upcoming visit of the European Union leaders. Because they don't want to mistake the civilian drones, the drones people just use, than these things that have been spotted, like I said, near and over their military bases for at least the past week. In fact, NATO is trying to figure out what to do with the drone problem in Denmark. Because let's face it, you can't have unknown drones over military bases. You just can't. This is weird, just like the New Jersey drone situation was. Okay, Booshkis, I just wanted to share this with you. Shabadoo.
I do wonder how they're going to handle drones in the future, because there is a lot of people that just have full access to use drones. Also, if someone was really clever, they could be using these very large drones as distractions to allow smaller drone types the size of like dragonflies or hummingbirds, maybe even cockroaches, could be accessing places while people are looking up, being distracted by these distraction drones. And in my mind, if someone wanted to infiltrate the military, they would be wanting to do so to collect data, to listen in on things that are supposed to be private, basically being a fly on a wall. So why not send these big drones out to distract everyone, keep them engaged, while the little drones are making their way in the places that are supposed to be more private? To me, that kind of stuff could be going down, because otherwise, what's the purpose of having these giant noticeable drones that are easy to see if you're trying to be stealthy about it? But let me know what you guys think about all this.
You are not ready for how diabolical the McFlurry conspiracy rabbit hole really is. You know the story. Show up to McD's, make your order, throw a McFlurry in there, and get hit with the, "Oh, sorry, our ice cream machine is broken." It's not just you. This was happening to everyone. The McDonald's ice cream machine is just always broken. Well, I found out why, and it turns out big corporations are literally conspiring against customers like us, and it's darker than you think. This isn't even a theory, as we have direct evidence of everything they did. We're talking court documents, emails from CEOs that proves it's all real. And a recent lawsuit reconfirmed everything once again. The infamous McDonald's ice cream machine being down became so common it turned into a meme when people all over the internet constantly complained about it. Well, someone ran the numbers, and it turns out that about 15% of McDonald's ice cream machines are down at any given time, which is kind of a lot. They even tried covering it up a few years ago by debunking this myth, claiming it was just as a result of a daily cleaning cycle the machine had to go through, during which time it was unusable. But the cleaning cycle is only 4 hours long and typically done at closing, which does not account for the high rate of failure reported. Remember, kids, never trust a debunker. Well, this is their ice cream machine, made by a company called Taylor. All McDonald's owners are required to buy their equipment from them, company policy. Now, in 2017, Taylor reported that 25% of the revenue came from recurring parts and services, basically fixing their machines. And let me tell you, 25% is a lot, as another report showed that maintenance and repairs accounted for $170 million of revenue per year for Taylor. And hey, this is barely even the tip of how devious their operation really gets, because their entire business model is essentially scoring exclusivity deals with big chains, so franchise owners are forced to buy their products, selling them faulty machines that need constant fixing, charging them heavy fees for repairs on a recurring basis. So McDonald's franchise owners put off the repairs of these machines for as long as they can, because their cost for repair often outweighs their revenue from ice cream sales. You see, it's the franchisee owners, not McDonald's corporate head office, that pay pays for these repairs. Basically, when you want to open your own McDonald's restaurant, you sign something called a franchise agreement with McDonald's corporate, where you agree to follow all of McDonald's rules and standards in exchange for being able to use the McDonald's brand for your restaurant. Franchising 101. In this agreement, it explicitly states that you have to buy your ice cream machines from Taylor. Oh, and only Taylor is allowed to fix your machines as well. That's called an exclusivity deal, which can sometimes turn into a bit of a legalized monopoly. So Taylor is their sole provider of machines and repairs and can essentially charge any price they want for their products and services, which leaked invoices show can go as high as $315 per 15 minutes of additional labor over the first 30 minutes. So a 3-hour repair job can cost over $3,000, which how that's not price gouging, I have no clue. But that's how Taylor makes their money. McDonald's corporate doesn't care because they're not paying for the repairs and probably have a multi-million-dollar exclusivity deal with Taylor, who shares a portion of their profits with them. So Taylor kinda has an infinite money glitch, selling machines that need constant repairs paid by the franchise owners who can't even buy their machines from anyone else. But even that is just the tip of what they're really doing, and they just keep on going deeper even when we try to get them to stop. Enter Kitch, a startup company that created a device that you can plug into Taylor ice cream machines and override their computers to fix any errors they're having, meaning you can fix them without calling Taylor for repairs, which they definitely didn't like. Because Kitch realized that Taylor actually intentionally installs flawed code into their ice cream machines to cause them to malfunction without informing the user what the error even is. And while Kitch was testing their product on Taylor machines, Taylor actually tried to steal their product 3 times, which were outlined in court documents. First by a Taylor distribution manager directly, then by one of their lawyers, and finally by 2 private investigators hired by Taylor using aliases and dummy email addresses. These guys were treating this like a fucking bank heist. They were not messing around. When these attempts failed, they actually conspired with a McDonald's franchise owner to work with them by enrolling him in a Kitch trial. The franchise owner's name was Tyler Gamble, and he told Kitch that he was head of McDonald's equipment team and wanted to bring Kitch's product into every McDonald's. But it turns out he was actually a spy for Taylor, and it was all a ruse. Gamble got his hands on a Kitch device and used it to reverse engineer their technology, and he purposely kept the device disconnected from the internet for weeks at a time while he took it apart so that Kitch wouldn't catch on. When the device came back online weeks later and the SD card was 90% full, Kitch caught on. But it was already too late, because coincidentally a new product came out just shortly after by a company called Powerhouse Dynamics, which is owned by Middleby Corporation, the parent company of Taylor. And it did exactly what the Kitch device did, but with less information provided to the user, more restrictions added. And now McDonald's franchise owners are forced to buy this inferior product from Middleby instead of from Kitch. Middleby stole the device blueprint from Kitch and made it their own. So in 2021, Kitch actually sued that McDonald's franchise owner and Taylor for almost $900 million on the grounds of Taylor trying to conceal a multi-million-dollar repair racket, which is exactly what this was. This is some straight mafia shit, and emails prove all the big suits were in on it. Because back when Kitch was trialing their device, McDonald's head office sent out an email outright telling franchise owners not to use Kitch because it wasn't safe, making up complete lies that the device can cause serious human injury just to scare owners away from using it, when in reality it would have just saved the franchise owners a ton of money. But McDonald's corporate has a multi-million-dollar exclusivity deal with Taylor they need to protect, who makes a lot of money selling and fixing their ice cream machines. A leaked email from the CEO of Taylor's parent company, Middleby, straight up said that he was trying to stop Kitch's device from gaining traction. 2 weeks later, McDonald's sends out their email calling Kitch's product dangerous. What Middleby is doing is called corporate espionage to gain an unfair market advantage, and there are actually a collection of antitrust laws to prevent this from happening. But clearly, if you have enough money, laws don't apply to you anymore. Because all that companies like Kitch are trying to do is save McDonald's franchise owners money by making ice cream machine repairs more affordable, so that they can be more profitable and customers like you and I can have our Smarties McFlurries when we want them. But no, big corporations like Taylor would much rather literally snatch ice cream out of the hands of children and keep their ice cream machines as broken as possible so they can make more money. Remember that the next time they tell you their ice cream machine is down, knowing that multi-billion-dollar companies are by definition conspiring against us, the consumer. And people say conspiracies aren't real, huh?
Man, it really doesn't need to go that deep for just ice cream. Hey, I get it. McDonald's ice cream is okay, I guess. I haven't had it in a long time, but I do remember it being pretty tasty. And if a big company like that signs an exclusivity deal, they're kind of just shooting themselves in the foot, in my opinion. But hey, I'm not the one with billions of dollars, so...
Researchers have made solar-powered artificial plants that can take up radioactive waste directly from the soil. not to be confused with synthetic plants, which can also have been considered for space travel, nor should these be confused with hamsters who have had chloroplast from plants put into their cells. If you really want a photosynthetic hamster, we can talk about it. I have good news and bad news. As for our synthetic plants that can clean up radioactive waste, yes, they use the power of the sun. Just through evaporation, the same way that plants get materials from the soil, they can take up things like cesium. Those can collect in the artificial plant, and the process will continue. At some point, these plants can be removed and properly stored. This has been successful in cleaning up to 90% of the cesium present in soil, and it can be used for other materials. This is actually incredibly useful, because normally the only thing we can do with soil that's been contaminated is put it in a dome. And while yes, cleaning up all the topsoil is potentially a solution, it's not a very good one. It's also a lot better to have that dome very far underground, because things like concrete do eventually crack and can leak, which has happened. What I do really like about this is that it does plagiarize from nature. Nature has had billions of years to develop the strategies that it has. Why don't we just borrow it rather than trying to figure out our way through on our own? And of course, developing synthetic plants that can take the same tools that plants use in order to take in light and create energy that can be used to clean oxygen. Of course, one might ask, why not just use actual plants? And that has been considered, using things like algae in space, although one of the concerns is those populations can crash. If you have something synthetic that's not really alive and therefore can't die, then yeah, this has its uses. It's not all bad, and it could be used for terraforming, which has been considered. I personally think terraforming is kind of a waste of time for things like Mars. It doesn't have the capacity to hold an atmosphere. So what do you think? Artificial photosynthesis useful for any of these things? I think cleaning up radioactive waste is actually an interesting one.
And before you know it, you're going to have plants that are eating people like off a Little Shop of Horrors.
In Maine, prisoners are thriving in remote jobs, and other states are starting to take notice and looking to recreate this program. The image of the individual you're seeing right here is an actual prisoner, an inmate who's working remotely from his cell in prison. Now, his cell is much nicer. This is a minimum security prison, but you typically think about people working while incarcerated in kitchens, in laundry work, on road crews, and sort of notoriously dangerous and low-paying jobs. Well, in Maine, what's happened is they have given their prisoners access to the internet and have allowed them to begin working remote jobs. At the Maine Correctional Center in Windham, this lady, Darlene George, is a certified recovery coach, a scholar, and a teaching assistant who's serving a 40-year sentence for the murder of her husband. Wow, that got so incredibly dark. She's going to be here a long time, but she talks about having work to do and making her feel good and helping her rehab. The individual pictured here in the beginning was a person who took advantage of the prison's laptop system, managed to get himself a remote job, and what's incredible is he actually got hired as soon as he got out of prison. The CEO of the person that he was working under remotely while in prison decided to hire him despite his previous conviction and felon status. Mara Sanchez, who's the program director at Alliance for Higher Education Prisons, says Maine's Department of Corrections was the first in the nation to have a remote work policy. Their implementation, willingness to try remote work for incarcerated students has really kind of set the bar for other states and has been very inspiring to other states. There's now 800 residents in Maine prisons that have access to the internet, which means they could take non-traditional prisoner jobs where you typically get paid like 50 cents an hour to manufacture license plates and things like that. And it apparently is working wonders for rehabilitation as well, because you're not only giving the prisoners useful skills, but you're also giving them hope. You're giving them a reason to continue, a reason to learn and do things, and setting them up with a job when they get out, so they're not just immediately in unemployment and having to go back to the life of crime that they knew before. So this is something I can definitely get behind.
I can see the good in this, and I see a little bit of bad as well. Now, I'm not entirely certain of everything that this prisoner here has going on exactly. I do not know how rare of an opportunity it is for a person to get the job that this guy got. But in my mind, imagine there's a family and this person wants a job to support their family, and they applied for this job that this prisoner got. Well, this company picked the prisoner over someone that was not in prison because the prisoner's wages were more affordable and just overall easier to pay. And I mean, that's great for the business because the business is saving money. But now you're rewarding rewarding this prisoner, though I do not know what crimes they've committed, but there's still crimes, over someone that wants to support their family. Now, luckily, there's other jobs out there for the person that wants to support their family to do, but I could see a case scenario like this happening more frequently than not. And I could also see a person that was wrongly placed in prison, they're actually innocent, and this would be a great opportunity for them to go through. It would actually give them a moment to escape that prison reality and get back into something more normal because they were wrongly accused and now they're just in prison sitting there with nothing to do. And I'm sure that's a very rare, odd case, but I could see where that would be a great opportunity for someone in that position as well. So let me know what you guys think about all this. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and end today's video. I'm not quite sure if there will be a video out tomorrow due to the arriving hurricanes. It does look like it's getting pulled out to the Atlantic, but we will see. So wish me luck. I wish you guys the best as well. And as always, I do want to thank you guys for watching these clips with me. If today's your birthday, happy birthday. And if not, have a good day anyways.